Hi, this is Chad Barsinger, and I'm presenting to you a class project that I did with my Information Systems Risk Analysis, Threats, Attacks, and Defenses class. We were tasked with creating an attack and defense scenario on Iran's nuclear attack on Israel. The PowerPoint presentation itself was just under 300 slides, but I've condensed it down to 21 slides just to give you a brief overview of the project itself. I was team lead for my team, and we were in charge of the facts section and also the policies and regulations section. The facts summary I have here is just one slide. The slides were upwards of 75 plus slides just for the facts section itself. The Middle East, Europe, U.S. concerned with Iraq's nuclear program. U.S. places economic sanctions on Iran as a deterrence for nuclear buildup, and Iran dismisses sanctions and continues nuclear program beyond civilian and medical purposes. This is the pre-risk assessment. The equation that we used was the Ryan-Nichols equation. My professor for the class was actually Randall Nichols, one of the creators of this equation. The difference with their equation is that it factors in countermeasures for the risk to help mitigate the threats and reduce risk. This is a risk probability chart that we used. 81 to 100% is high, and the very low was 0 to 6%. Risk probability was the threat of a nuclear bomb was at 25%. The vulnerability was it can wipe out large populations in seaports at 27%. The impact was we considered was medium to high, and the countermeasure would be to have a missile defense system in place. We considered the risk to be low to medium at 32%. Overall risk was 32%. The issues that we came up with were number one, the attack boost. What would be the increase in risk to Israel when Iran attacks with 3 nuclear bombs simultaneously? The defense boost we figured out would be what can be done to increase the current level of Israel's defense to decrease the risk level of Iran's nuclear program. And then the third was the policies. What policies should be in place for a nuclear threat from Iran? Issue 1 was the attack methods. The attack method was to deploy 3 nuclear bombs located at different launching sites simultaneously on the 3 highest populated cities in Israel, which are Jerusalem, Haifa, and Tel Aviv. The 3 nuclear bombs were 45 megatons apiece. This was based on the uranium resources available to Iran, and these resources have been homegrown or supplied to them by multiple allies. Each bomb is a weapon of mass destruction, and it's equivalent to a little less than 1,400 times the combined power of the bombs that destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They're using enriched uranium and enriched plutonium. Again, this is the risk assessment. The risk analysis after the attack. Tel Aviv with a population density of 16.5% of Israel. Water pump stations to central and southern regions are disabled. Large economic and tourist center, and nuclear bomb 45 megaton. Estimated threat level was 85% medium high. The risk assessment for Haifa is a population density of 12% of Israel. Water pump stations to the northern region will be disabled. Large economic and industrial centers will be damaged. We considered that a threat level of 85% as well. Jerusalem, population density of 12% of Israel. Large economic and religious centers, and 85% threat level there as well. Again, this is the overall threat. This would be a medium high of 85%. The risk-based difference after the attack, the initial assessment was 32%. The overall threat we considered medium high at 85%, so the net risk would be a medium net risk of 53%. Issue 2 is initial nuclear defense boost response. Education would be number 1, family action plan number 2, medical defense number 3, and we also threw in a preemptive strike option for number 4. This is the defense risk profile. You can see here we have countermeasures of education, family action plan, and medical defense, giving us an overall risk of 25% medium. Risk-based difference after defense boost. Education's at 23%, family action plan 27%, medical defense 25%, gives us an average risk level of 25%, and the new overall risk level is at 7%. For the defense risk profile, we have a 40% medium overall risk. The difference between the defense boost and response: mitigation plans are at 25%, preemptive strike at 15%, total average risk level of 40%, which gives us a new overall risk level of 8%. Issue 3 would be the policies. What policies are indicated for Israel because of the nuclear bomb threat from Iran. And then conclusions. We have risk assessment after attack was a net risk of 53%. Risk assessment after defense boost was a net risk of 8%. Risk to Israel for the Iran I-1 is a net 45%. And a minimum of $45 million would need to be added to the defense budget to reduce the threat any further.